Hey guys! Today I will be sharing with you some of my favorite tuberose fragrances from my collection. Tuberose is one of my favorite notes, and I think it's becoming increasingly popular in modern day perfumery. It's kind of actually become my obsession lately. I can't get enough of it. It's so interesting to me, and there are so many ways to do tuberose in a fragrance. I've had a really good time sort of exploring different fragrances and seeing how they showcase the note. I have 7 to show you today. Most of them I haven't spoken to you about before. 5 out of the 7 have never been talked about. They're new, some of them are new. But I'm really excited because if you love tuberose, like I love tuberose, I think that you will find at least one fragrance of these 7 that you will really enjoy. My first one is one that I have just recently spoken about, and that is Jean Paul Gaultier's Scandal by Night. This is a flanker of Scandal, which is orange blossom and honey, and Scandal by Night is tuberose and honey. This fragrance is super heavy, super sweet, super sexy. I love how the tuberose in this is really heady and thick and buttery. I feel like this is the sexiest tuberose that I own. The honey is just so thick and syrupy and overly sweet, like jaw-hurtingly sweet. And I don't know, I just really think that Scandal by Night does tuberose in a really sexy way without being mature, like too mature, or I don't know, sometimes tuberose can kind of have like a little bit of a pea note, which I really dislike for obvious reasons. And I don't get any of that in this. I think this is just pure sweet, delicious. Like I just want to sink my teeth into it. I get really great longevity out of this, and the sillage is incredible. This is the kind of perfume where 1 or 2 sprays gets you noticed, and any more might get you talked about, good or bad. That's up to you to decide. But I highly recommend this line in general if you like really sweet perfumes and if you like beast mode perfumes. The whole Scandal line is really great for that. My next one I talked about in my discontinued perfumes video, and that is Madonna's Truth or Dare. This is her interpretation of Fracas, which I have yet to smell, but it's just a really great tuberose. It's a little bubblegummy, a little buttery. I don't know, I feel like this showcases tuberose in a very like letting tuberose take the stage kind of way. There are obviously other notes in this fragrance, but I think tuberose stands out and really stands alone in this. I think it's done so well, and I really love how this fragrance to me could be worn by anyone. I think this fragrance would smell great on like a young teen or an older woman. I think it's just so timeless smelling and very just perfect for everyday wear. This is discontinued. However, I feel like this is still fairly easy to find online. I might be wrong. And the longevity on this is also very good. I get 8 hours from it. And the sillage is okay. At first it's great, and then it sort of dies down a little bit on me within 3 to 4 hours. But I don't know, 1 to 2 sprays, and typically I'm an oversprayer. I feel like 1 or 2 sprays is good for this fragrance. Speaking of Fracas, I have tried to order Fracas, and I was sent Petite Fracas, which I wasn't even aware of before I received it. But I'm kind of glad I did, because if Madonna's Truth or Dare is very similar to Fracas, then I don't really need both. And this is different from Truth or Dare. This still has that bubblegum essence, but it's also a little fruity and really sugary. It's not, I don't know how to say this. It's not super sweet. It's just very sugary. That doesn't really make sense, does it? I think if you smelled it, you'd understand what I'm saying. So this is, it's like a sweet, subtle fruit, like a pear, or I think it's pear. It smells like pear to me. And I get gardenia in this as well. Gardenia, I'm not a huge fan of gardenia heavy fragrances. This, I feel the gardenia really just supports the tuberose. And again, the tuberose is really sweet and thick and bubblegummy. The sillage on this is great the entire time, and the longevity is really great as well. I get minimum 12 hours on this, and I think this is another one that could be worn no matter what your age is and no matter what the occasion is. A new one to my collection is Elysso's Essence No. 9 Tuberose. This was a blind buy. I hope nobody's surprised by that. And I wasn't really sure what to expect from it because the reviews were very mixed in terms of what kind of tuberose it was, whether people liked it or not, whether they could even smell it, what the longevity was. And I'm happy to say that the longevity on this for me was great. I got 8 hours, and that was just like a single spray on my hand. So I know that when I wear it for real, I'll really get like a good longevity, minimum 8 hours out of it. This one is, so this one's a little more of a mature tuberose, and by that I mean it's reminiscent of more vintage fragrances. I wouldn't call this vintage smelling, but the opening, the first 15 minutes or so are very reminiscent of more vintage fragrances. Like, it almost reminds me of Cabotin from Parfums Grey. Yeah, but it's different than that. This is a little more citrusy, and once that 15-20 minutes goes by, the tuberose changes, and it doesn't have that sort of edge to it anymore. It softens quite a bit. It doesn't get sweet and bubblegummy. It's definitely more buttery in this fragrance, which when the other side of it is citrus, it's interesting. I wouldn't call it weird. I really enjoy it. I think that the citrus and the butteriness really, I don't know, they just make it really interesting. I really enjoyed this. I think that the person who would wear this is someone who didn't mind smelling interesting. I don't know that this would be a huge hit with absolutely everyone. If tuberose is your jam, if tuberose is like your main favorite note, I think this is worth finding. But just, this isn't like a crowd-pleasing fragrance. I don't think it would be a turn-off necessarily. I think it would be more of a meh for some people. But if you really like tuberose, I think this could be a hit for you. So like I said, the longevity was good. The sillage I can't tell you about because I haven't given it a full wear yet. But if you don't follow me on Instagram, you can always check there. When I do post, I answer all the questions about my perfumes, so you can always check there. My next fragrance is from Maison Lancome, and this is Tuberose Castan. I think I'm saying that properly. It's chestnut and tuberose, and the chestnut and the tuberose are perfectly paired in this. The chestnuts are obviously warm and nutty, and the tuberose is thick and buttery. This is a scent that definitely feels like you need to sink your teeth into it. I think this scent is really great in cooler months. The warm weather is it just amps it up way too much. And the tuberose, much like in the Elysso, can be a little vintage smelling, but it sweetens up quite a bit. This is another super sweet one. The bottle is so beautiful. The longevity and sillage for me in cooler months is a lot better than in warmer months. I feel like in the warmer months, it just hits hard and heavy and fast. And in cooler months, it kind of takes its time to reveal itself. I get 6 to 8 hours on skin, and my sillage is great. I have not had any problems with performance from this. I think the projection is great. This is definitely one you need to test first. This bottle is way too expensive to blind buy, and I think this scent is too hit or miss to blind buy. I do not recommend it, even if you love tuberose. I just think it's too risky. So I would sample this first if you can get your hands on it. Next, I have another blind buy, and that is from Givenchy. It is L'Interdit Eau de Parfum. This fragrance is tuberose and pear and orange blossom. Three of my absolute most favorite notes. I am beyond excited to have this in my collection. If I'm honest, when I first smelled it, it smelled like the original chapstick, like the pink, well, it's a black container, but it's an actual pink product chapstick, which I have to admit, I do not like regular pink chapstick. It smells really gross to me, but it's kind of grown on me, this fragrance, L'Interdit. I don't know. I really was not sure about it at first, but now I reach for it all the time, and I like it because in the warmer weather, it still smelled like refreshing. It wasn't super, super heavy, but in the cooler months, it smells a little bit heavier. I feel like it kind of morphs depending on the weather. It sort of makes itself appropriate for the weather that you're having. It's really interesting. This to me is a lot more refined and polished and put together. It's a lot cleaner. It's not soapy by any means, but it just smells very, I don't know the word. I guess polished and put together are perfectly good descriptions. I love this. I think this fragrance would be a really great gift for somebody who you really don't know what they want. You don't know what to get them. I think this would really just be a generally pleasing fragrance. The longevity and the sillage are also really good on this. I get 8 hours from my longevity, and that is in warmer weather. I haven't really had any super cold days yet wearing this, so I don't know if that will improve in the cooler weather. And the sillage is okay. It's not projecting to the point where you know, people across the room can smell me, but I think if you walked past me at the grocery store, you would absolutely smell me. I saved my personal favorite for last. This is one of the newer accumulations of mine. It is Narcotic V from Nasomato. Oh my God. I have heard people go on and on about this fragrance, and I told myself there's no way it's that good. There's no way. So I really put off even sampling it. I've been trying really hard not to worry about niche as much as I can, just because the cost is so much more than designers. But I finally got my hands on this, and I have to admit, it's amazing. It is fully, like, the raves are legit and they're not overreacting or overselling it. It is so good. This is tuberose and lily, and there might be jasmine and pepper, I think, but oh my God, if you like tuberose and lily, you must try this. This is incredible. The lily is literally like the sweetest, most pure white lily you've ever smelled, and the tuberose is exactly the same. It is sweet and bubblegum, and whew. This to me is sexy in an incredibly flirty way. This is like, this is like big blonde hair, big juicy lips, like giggling too much and like touching someone's arm, and you know what I mean? Like playing with your hair. That is this kind of sexy to me. It is not a like bombshell, like vamp type of woman, like too cool for school, like you wish you could have her but you can't. This woman is like all over you, and she is laughing at all of your jokes, and she is touching you, and she smells like this. It is so good. I wish I had a bigger bottle. I only have a 1 ounce, but oh well. If you want to be the type of woman that I just described, I highly recommend sampling this because it's amazing. Honestly, that's who I wish I was, so that's probably why I love this so much. It is expensive. but it is worth it. I get great longevity and sillage out of this. I have gotten so many compliments from men and women alike wearing this. It's definitely not too juvenile. I know when I'm saying like bubblegum and sweet and lily and all of that kind of conjures up this very juvenile image, but it's not. This is a perfectly mature scent without being headed into like the nursing home territory. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please let me know down in the comments what your favorite tuberose fragrances are, because I'm on the hunt. I want more. I am in love with this note. It is my new obsession. So please give me some suggestions. Thank you again for watching, and I'll see you next week.